And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start of their Tuesday. Joe, it was raining on me on the way in this morning, and I forgot that happens. I forgot that it rains, but it does.
Oh, man.
First time in a while. I've seen it.
Yeah, well, it's like, man, we had thunderstorms a lot overnight. So Gus, Quinn doesn't care, but Gus freaks out at the first thing. So Gus is just trembling, clinging to me, which really didn't help the sleep factor much. We're about to get a lot more of it, too. We actually had a JV football game canceled on Independence last night.
Man.
Too. We were about to come back and win, so I don't count that as a loss.
No. The comeback was right around the corner. Speaking of not losing, how about those Detroit Lions last night against the Baltimore Ravens? An impressive victory on the road for the Detroit Lions.
A mighty team that will not yield.
And another game where a very costly Derrick Henry fumble in the game.
I mean, man, I'm feeling for him. 3-3. I didn't even realize, because like they blew out Cleveland. He didn't have I didn't even realize he fumbled in that game, but apparently he did.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he doesn't fumble against Buffalo, they win that game. I don't know if they win the game last night, but that was a big play. The Lions got a field goal off it, where it ended up kind of blowing them out. But that's a terrible. I feel bad for Derrick Henry. I mean, I think he'll be fine. I saw a stat where it's like he had 3 fumbles in his, in the previous 3 seasons, and however many hundreds of carries, and now he's had 3 and whatever, 50 carries, 60 carry, whatever it is this season. So I think that's an anomaly. Lions look good. Lions, they still got dudes on offense. So, and they still had some fun little plays. There's that little handoff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, little flip to Mary Gibbs. They're a fun team. I'm a little worried about the Ravens as my Super Bowl pick defensively. Little bit worried, but they were missing some guys last night.
I mean, Jair Alexander didn't play. Van Noy didn't play. So
those are 2 important players.
They'll get stronger on defense. Really fun week for me when the Packers blow one of the Browns, and then everybody else in the NFC North wins. Real good stuff.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, the Bucks and Eagles. If you talk about the race to, be the 1 seed, the NFC is pretty fun. I'm not ready to count the Lions in on that yet. It's funny though. It's like the schedule. It's like at Cincinnati now is like, oh,
that doesn't look so bad.
What a break that is, right? But the Bucks, you have to take them seriously. Obviously, the Eagles. Obviously, the Packers. I still think that's the best D in the league.
Rams are good.
And the Rams were hammering the Eagles. And then I guess if you want to count the Lions, I still question their D in terms of being in that all the way. But it's the NFC is I think it's it seems to me stronger than the AFC right now.
It's good. Yeah. Jeff from Nebraska says the rain you experienced this morning, Robbie, was God crying about how awful Nashville's football team is.
Oh, we were trying to avoid talking about that.
We were.
I guess we can't forever, can we?
We can't just put it off forever. So Brian Callahan addressed the media yesterday and faced the music, I guess, kind of, in his Monday press conference following the Titans dropping to 0-3. By the way, big battle in the NFL coming up this weekend. A bunch of 0-3 teams, the Titans and the Texans. So I'm sure the eyeballs be big for that one across the league this weekend.
Hey, but don't worry, because, we got a doubleheader next Monday, including the 0-3 Dolphins and 0-3 Jets.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank God that we all get to see that as well. A lot of good football.
Actually, at least we do have the alternative game, so you don't even have to
just pretend like this one doesn't exist.
Yeah, but it's Bengals Broncos, so good God.
So Brian Callahan was asked about a lot of things yesterday at his press conference, one of which was from Paul Kuharsky, who essentially asked him, hey, Brian, what do you make of your coaching decisions being a story in 2 out of 3 games so far? Here is what Brian Callahan had to say to that.
You and your decision-making have been a big story 2 out of 3 games coming into this season. Mm-hmm. How bad is that for you, that they're not talking about your players, You're addressing things that you decided.
Yeah, I never want any of it to ever be, about me. It's not how I want it to be. It's not how it should be. I don't want it to be about good or bad. It's always supposed to be about our players and what they're doing and what they're doing well and what we got to be better at. But yeah, the conversation about me is not one that I want to continue. It's just the reality of where we're at, being 0-3, and every single thing gets magnified, and some things haven't worked out for us in those spots, and they're opened up to criticism, and that's the way it goes in the NFL. And yeah, I certainly don't want it to ever be about me.
So that was Brian Callahan and what he had to say yesterday in response to that question. Now, he brought that up a couple of times, Joe, of basically highlighting the record. He's like, the record and how the lack of winning games has magnified everything around here. And I'm sitting there watching it the whole time. And my thought process is pretty simple. And it's just like, this guy just doesn't get it. He just does not understand. And yes, everybody understands what the record is. He's 3-17 as Titans head coach. And we've talked about that. We've gone through it. But again, all of the issues that we've talked about with Brian Callahan to this point this year, I shouldn't say all, most of the issues we've talked about with Brian Callahan to this point this year are independent of the roster, are independent of the end result at the end of the game. It's decision-making in the moment, not 5 minutes after it happened, not 2 hours after it happened, while it's happening, that everybody around him is screaming, going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop, stop." And then he does it. Yeah. And that sort of response that he gave yesterday multiple times tells me that he just doesn't get it. He just does not get it. And it worries me to death that means that it's just going to continue as it goes around here.
Yeah, it's like, does he not get it, or is he just will refuse to acknowledge it? He'll refuse to play that game, right? Like, I'm just going to dismiss anything as, something didn't work out. I mean, the coaches say that all the time. But like you said, we are not saying this is not on 3rd and 1 you ran a flea flicker or whatever. 3rd and 1 you ran, or 3rd and 3 you ran and you should have passed. 3rd and 1 you passed and you should have run. Something doesn't work out. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Fine. I agree with coaches who say, great, so something didn't work, and, then you all second guess. Again, before a series starts in Denver, it's like, oh, they only have 2 timeouts. There you go. You got the lead at halftime. What are you doing? And then, of course, we've had multiple, and forget about even just the big thing of last week or, Sunday before halftime. We've had multiple instances also of total lack of aggression on the plus side of the field. So that's one thing. But again, in the moment, you're like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's happening? What are you doing? It's not like the play call. It's like the operation was a complete bleep show. That is not, you just, after the fact. People are watching it in real time and saying, who is running this team?
Well, and he's not helping himself in these press conferences. He's really not. Like, and look, I'm not, some media coach or a media expert up there. But like, I want you to think about some of the moments in the press conferences so far this year. And again, is it the world's biggest deal at the end of the day? If he was winning, nobody would care. But you get up there and you just totally fumble all over yourself with the explanation of the rule thing with Alec Io Manor. And you say you don't know the rule. You own it the next day by not knowing the rule. That's on me, didn't know the rule. And then halfway through the press conference, you've changed your story on, I actually did know the rule. And it's just a mess. And we talked about that. On Sunday against the Colts, and I heard Willie and D-Mace and Adam talking about this yesterday, like the exchange afterwards of the explanation of what happened before half. And, TD, I think, asked him what sort of a message it sent the team. And he was basically like, I don't know. I don't know what message. Like, it was an awful exchange. Like, it just makes him look awful. And then yesterday, he's sitting there talking about how, the record and how bad they are, and everything just magnifies the decisions that he makes. It's like, no, dude, like, you're bad because you make some of these decisions all the time. You're not helping yourself here. It's been such a disaster of a start, more so than I even thought possible from Brian Callahan to begin this season. And it just doesn't feel like it's going to get any better. The way he's handled this is poor. Very poor.
you know, it's not, I guess it's not like overly combative. This is one of those, this is a time when, like if a coach is combative with media, if things are going well or whatever, or like if their skin's on the wall, like when Vrabel would do it, people are like, yeah, Vrabel. If Callahan were doing that now, people would be all over him. But yeah, it's just like, I think he's in survival mode. So I'm just guessing that in his mind, it's like, don't admit anything in public that's already, people are already saying all this stuff about. So don't, I still would argue just fall on the sword. I mean, like, again, either way, like either the results are going to change dramatically for you and you're going to like prove that you can win football games, or like you're
done.
Yeah, you're done anyway. So I don't know that it even matters that much, but yeah, it's kind of infuriating, right? Like if you're a fan who closely, follows this team, follows the press conferences and stuff, to not have him just come out and just say it. And also, like there's weirdness, like you said, there was weirdness about the rule. What the heck happened with we could get into this next, like the K-ball thing.
Yeah.
That was bizarre too. And Glennon tried to press him on that, and
he just would not talk about it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so was the K-ball, which is, for people who don't know, that's the ball that's the kicking ball.
Yeah.
So is that an issue, or is that not an issue? It was an issue at halftime, he said, and then it's not now, I guess. I don't know.
It's a lot of weird stuff going on. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll get more into that coming on next. Plus, something that Rexrode said a few months ago about a former coach in this state that I wonder if it applies now to this one. We'll get into that coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Taking your thoughts on Brian Callahan as well. Ed on the text line, Joe, asking, when asked about giving up play calling, he said everything was on the table. Do you think that's him saying that or him saying that after a conversation with the front office?
Yeah, that was a good pull there, Ed. That was an interesting moment there. I'm like, it's everything's on the table that's a throwaway line for coaches, but I kind of felt like there was a little, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but just the way he answered it, like that actually might be on the table.
I had the opposite reaction.
Really?
I heard him say it, and I was just like, okay, so he's just saying stuff just to say stuff. Like, he said basically the same thing at the end of last year. Hey, look, a lot of coaches do this. This is not a Brian Callahan specific thing. They've asked Matt LaFleur in Green Bay about this before of, hey, have you considered giving up play calling? He's like, well, if I figured it was the best thing to do for the team, that's what I would do. The way that Callahan answered that yesterday, it kind of felt dismissive to me is my reaction to it. Maybe it's because I'm so cynical on him right now. I don't know.
Now I want to hear it again. Yeah, I actually I wouldn't mind revisiting that at some point. Because I think that's usually what it is. For some reason, I was like, oh, so maybe there is something to this, but I could be wrong.
Well, again, as we discussed a couple weeks ago, if they arrive at that decision,
come on,
what are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, also, like if you're convinced that some of the reasons he's making these gaffes is because he can't handle being the play caller and the head coach at the same time, like, again, what are we doing? And I may even be able to buy that a little bit at times because there are certain situations where things happen so quickly
and
you've got to get the play call in,
yeah.
And maybe you don't stop and think about something as long as you should. But the situation the other day, I mean, you had 3rd and 2, a timeout by the Colts and a timeout by the Titans. Like that excuse doesn't fly to me.
No,
in that situation.
It doesn't at all. Yeah, I agree that. Excuse me, my goodness. Logistically, that can be like you can see how that can be a problem at times.
Yeah,
but that's also where, even though these OCs aren't play calling OCs, that's kind of why. I remember when Callahan came in, and it's like, Zach Taylor talked to a few of us about like what he did there. And it's like this base. It's like, yes, technically I'm the play caller, but like the whole game plan and like the sequencing, all that stuff, like the OC is like the OC does everything, but just call the play, So that's where the OC here needs to be that for him too. If you have a good operation, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I absolutely think so as well. So on the K-ball thing, he told the CBS broadcast at halftime that there were some issues with the K-ball getting it in, and that's what ultimately ended up leading to the delay of game before half. Now, as we pointed out yesterday, you're probably not having those issues if you just make a decision, right? Like if you make a decision coming out of the timeout of, hey, we're definitely going for it, or hey, we're definitely kicking this field goal, and you're not halfway in and then halfway out, you avoid all these issues. But Ian, did we have the clip from the K-ball yesterday? He was asked about what happened on Sunday with the K-ball right before half by John Glennon, and here's how that exchange went with Brian Callahan.
I think at halftime of the game, you mentioned the K-ball situation in regards to just before the half, but didn't hear that from you afterwards. How much of that played into the problems there? And I guess if you mentioned that at halftime, why not post game?
I just alluded to the operation in the post game, just the operation in general. And again, at the end of the day, I got to do a better job, put us in a better spot. So there's really not much more to add to it than from what I said post game. So
the officials' operation,
our operation,
K-ball guys' operation,
our operation as a football team, and my operation as a head coach got to be better than it was in that spot. So that's, again, I don't have much more to add to it than that.
There you go. That was the back and forth there on the K-ball situation. Not going into a whole lot of detail there. So that's what he said at halftime, and then I guess he just didn't want to talk about the K-ball part of it after that.
I don't know. It's like someone said, do not mention K-ball again.
Yeah.
Texter says here, as I continue to struggle to talk, Says, to clear up the K-ball issue, as someone who worked in football equipment operations for 10 years, the reason the refs and the ball boy didn't prioritize rotating the K-ball into play during those 2 timeouts was because they both were given the illusion the Titans were going for.
Yeah.
The offense still standing on the field. It makes the referee's operation look bad if they take the game ball out prematurely.
Yeah.
That's 100% on Callahan or whoever the hell is making the calls. That's a long text, but good text.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's very good. I mean, it kind of lines up exactly with what we've been talking about of, hey, if you just make a decision, you probably don't have those operational issues right there. So I think maybe Callahan realizes that and don't want to start talking about the K-ball again in the post game would be my guess.
Yeah.
As to how that went down. So my question for you is this. I think back to a conversation we had a few months ago, and it actually dated back to Butch Jones of all people. And what you were talking about was, there reaches a point with a coach where if you're in the media, if you're in the locker room, I think eventually, even if you're a fan, like you can see the walls closing in and you can detect when it's like the situation becomes untenable. Like think back to 2017 with Butch Jones, right? Like it became clear pretty quickly that he was going to get fired. Like the walls were closing in. He was going to get fired. He was getting super defensive in the media. What do we want from our media? Like, what do we? I mean, we all remember that press conference. And then he was fired a few weeks later. My question for you is, with how negative it is right now around Brian Callahan, around this franchise. I mean, he's getting booed off the field the other day. People were booing when the owner's walking out there. Burke Nihill steps to the microphone, and the fans who actually showed up to the game, which weren't very many, but were some, were just giving it to Burke Nihill and booing him in the Mike Keith ceremony. There's a lot of negativity. They're 3-17 in their last 20 games. Is it to the point in your mind yet, Joe, where you look at Callahan and you say, I mean, this is just untenable. Like you can feel the walls closing in and there's no way out.
Well, the huge difference between the two situations is that, like in college football, and it was different then even than now, because now you have the portal and stuff. But in college football, you start getting decommitments, right? And I don't remember the specifics of that, but it always happens. So in 2017, like you said, they have this crazy win over Georgia Tech where they introduced the turnover trash can, which, hey, everybody made fun of Butch, but I mean, there's a lot of turnover things like that. We all love him now. Like Lane Kiffin's throwing alley-oops, and we love Lane. Butch is on the cutting edge, but people just don't want to recognize it.
Is there a lot of trash cans?
What's that?
Are there a lot of trash cans? Because I think that's the one I've seen is just the trash. The trash can was the thing that got me.
Is that the only one?
Oh, it's just you guys are trash out here. Awesome. That's great.
I mean, that was like seriously though in 2017. Like how many teams were doing the turnover thing then? Like they were one of the first.
They were one of the first.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So they go out.
Look at our trash can, baby. We picked up the Georgia Tech quarterback.
I'm trying to think what. Oh, that was the year that. Oh God, that was the Gainesville debacle where they.
Oh yeah,
have 5 plays from the 1 and they're in shotgun and then they give up the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, but that is the difference, right? Is that as soon as recruiting then starts to go the other way on you, especially again in that time when it's all about high school recruiting.
Yeah.
And you didn't have this player movement that you have now. Like that's when so that's the difference in the NFL is, I mean, look, when it comes down to it, like the player acquisition is all built in with the draft and all that stuff. So I would say that is a huge difference in college football. When a fan base turns on you, even now with things different, to me, that is like, just because like I mean, who funds it? Like in the NFL, the owner, the billionaire owns the team and makes money off the team. In college, you're asking rich people to keep giving you money, and what their return on investment is what? You get to like fly on the team plane with us.
Yeah.
You get an awesome seat. You get, come shake coach's hand. I mean, like it's unbelievable how these college programs get these money out of these rich people. It's crazy.
It really is.
It's insane. So the college coach, when it starts to go and then those people are pissed off, it's not this. But I do think I think you're onto something in terms of like the embattled kind of nature, the feel around him a little bit, and certainly the fan base without question. Big question to me. It comes down to the locker room, and it just comes down to. I mean, look, he's well, I shouldn't say obviously. Today is Tuesday. That's Amy's firing day, right? But he's coaching this week. Yeah, he's gonna get more time And it's just like if the results don't get, if you don't have some breakthrough results real soon, then yeah, it's just going to keep snowballing.
A couple more thoughts I want to get to on this front. We'll take your thoughts on Brian Callahan, 615-737-1025. Robby Weinstein will join us at 7 o'clock. We'll get into some Vanderbilt football with him. The SEC and the annual opponents have been put out there for the next 4 years. We'll get into that coming up next hour as well. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We got Charmed on the TV in here. Rexrode's living right.
Hey, get your hands off Alyssa. Hey, like trying to help her like make cake batter. Get your hands off her, you weirdo.
Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025.
This is a really bizarre and unsettling scene.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Let's head back to our 1025 The Game phone line. Welcome in Jared in Spring Hill to the program. Jared, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Man, that's some nostalgia right there at Charms, man. That's a great show.
Oh, yeah.
But
Classic.
the more I look kind of like back on things, kind of like how we got here, it's kind of like we didn't really get to see Callahan in these tough moments because Levis last year really overshadowed so much, especially early on. And so we didn't really get opportunities to see like Callahan in the spotlight where he was, or, you know, for the most part is kind of, you know, putting the team in the not the greatest spots. And the more he talks, it's just word vomit coming out. And I'm starting to feel bad for the guy. And not because I like him or not because like, I'm like, oh, let's give him another chance. But I just feel bad for him. I mean, it doesn't seem like he can help himself. And for whatever reason, like, is it like that he doesn't have anyone in the organization that can help him out at all in these situations? I mean, I know he brought in a new PR guy who was his buddy, and all that. But I mean, is he like, where is this guy going wrong that is just making all of his words just make him sound so like ridiculous? Like, again, in summary, I'm just feeling bad for the guy. And I don't want to see him stick around longer because I feel bad for him. Trust me. I mean, I'm ready to move on, but I just kind of feel bad for the guy. And I usually root for the underdog, but not this one. So tighten up.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it.
I really like you, Brian. I'd like you to leave. You know what I think would be best for all of us? If you'd leave. I'm rooting for you, buddy.
I mean, look, as far as the press conference stuff, I really do. Like, I try my best in these type situations, Joe, to be as open-minded as possible because I know how this goes. I know when the coach loses enough and the fan base turns on him, that the press conferences turn into picking apart everything he says and looking for the negative.
Yeah.
Like, I understand.
It all sounds worse.
It all sounds worse. So I try to be cognizant of that. However, like, there are some things that he's done in the press conferences this year that I think are independent of that, where I just look at him like, no, man, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you claiming responsibility and taking ownership of not knowing the rule, and then halfway through you're switching up your answer? Like, there's some weird stuff going on that front. And to his point, to Jared's point, just calling in, Joe, I did tell me if you agree or disagree with this. I watched him at the press conference yesterday, and it kind of felt like a guy that, I'm not going to say defeated, but it felt like a coach that you can tell that the noise is gotten to him.
Yeah. No, look, I have to think that the noise or noise and a combination of that and like the actual reality of the situation. I mean, I wonder how much that's affecting his performance.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and yes, I agree. He just, like, it's the classic embattled coach press conference. In terms of Jared's question there about helping him out, well, first of all, this is like not going to go back and, revisit Robby Boren not being there anymore, because I really don't know the situation now with the new person. But Robby Boren was really good. Robby Boren is the type of guy who I think could have helped him. And I think the biggest thing is, like, especially, like, don't change your story. You know? I mean, like, the thing on the rule, which again almost seemed like it was sort of in the moment where he thought to himself, oh wait, that's dumb to say I don't know it. No, of course I know the rule. I mean, like, stuff like that. I guess, like, sometimes you do need to plan these things out, and you have to be careful about how you say things. That's just the reality. I mean, ideally, you'd like somebody to just come out there, be honest, and let it go. And that's the funny thing about Callahan too, is like, even through all of last year, and of course in the honeymoon early days before they ever played any football for him, he was great in those press conferences, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is so refreshing compared to Vrabel, But yeah, like, replay yesterday's presser and especially watch the video and then compare it to like early days. It is different. He's been beaten down by this.
He looked beaten
somewhat.
down. And I heard TD was on with DVD yesterday, and he didn't say defeated either, but he was like, it's trending in that neighborhood of kind of what he looks like right now. So yeah, I mean, we all understand it's a bad spot that he's in. I mean, another weird thing from the press conference yesterday, Joe, was, they obviously they asked him about the Michael Pittman quote, right? And, Callahan did they won the game, and you could say whatever you want to say if you win a game like that. I didn't come away with that same conclusion. And then they asked him the follow-up basically of like, well, Jerry Sneed and Roger McCurry basically said you guys didn't have any energy and came out flat. And he was like, well, I don't know anything about that. It's like,
Yeah.
Do you really not know anything about that? Or
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't like that's the thing. Did he know they said that? I don't know. That's so you want to talk about like PR people. Those are things that you make sure that the coach knows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now the coach may still say, "Oh, I didn't see that." That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like, "No, I'm not aware of that. Not aware of that situation." But yeah, that whole thing, and his point was, if you watch the game, look, like I said yesterday, did they quit? No, they didn't quit. Again, just watch a few snaps and like specifically watch the guys in the trenches and tell me that they quit. You can't, right? But did they have the necessary energy? I mean, I think this team's beaten down too already and lacking confidence, and it just looks like a team that just knows it's going to end up finding a way to lose after, again, just like last year, a really good and in some ways promising first performance on the road.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, and then it goes wrong for you. Quarterback does it last year, coach does it this year, and it's like, then you can't, all of a sudden that's enough to just all of a sudden the house starts crumbling on you.
I mean, the more I think about this, the worse I feel for Titans fans. Like, think about the way that their season has begun the last 2 years, right? So you got the miracle flip in Chicago with Will Levis. You got the Jets coming to town last year where Will Levis is rolling the ball on the ground like he's at a bowling event. You got another block punt in that game. You've got, in week 3, Malik Willis coming in and looking like the second coming of Michael Vick out there against your former team. Those are your first 3 games last year, how you get to 0-3. Then this one, you've got not knowing the rules in the first half debacle in Denver that we're talking about the coach immediately after the game. You got week 2 that thankfully you didn't have like any huge takeaway storylines there, but you just got your tails beat in the second half by the Rams. And then you got the Colts who just came in and beat you by 20 points, and your coach with an all-time fumble in terms of the way he mismanaged the first half. Like the way that the Titans have started the season the last 2 years, if you're a Titans fan, I mean, my goodness, think about that, what you've had to go through.
Wow. Yeah, and then that's just a nice little chunk of the overall tremendous amount of losing over years. Again, like this franchise has not had this extended a period of futility since the mid 80s in Houston. So if anybody's listening who is like a Oilers fan who's stuck, well, Ed would be.
Yeah.
Ed's an Oilers fan who's been there the whole time. I mean, Ed has not experienced this misery since like Earl Campbell had hung it up and they were drafting a bunch of really good linemen and finally getting Warren Moon in the NFL. That's how 40 years, man. 40 freaking years. No, it's unbelievable. Terrell on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHow.com, says, last year we kept asking ourselves, does Levis get it? Now we're asking ourselves, does Callahan get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't want to take the Levis conversation too far because I think some have been doing that. Maybe it wasn't Levis. It's like, well, no, it can be both. Like Levis was bad, and maybe Brian Callahan's a bad coach too. But Levis was definitely not good. But yeah, like it would be nice for this football team to put together a nice run of competence, like even beyond the talent and the wins losses. Just put together some competence for a stretch here, which it's been a while since they've done that. I mean, one texter says, Callahan didn't have as many boneheaded decisions managing the game, but the late play calls to the huddle were a regular occurrence for the offense. Most thought it was more to do with Levis, but it's painfully obvious that it's a coaching issue. Liam says, I think Rand getting fired and realizing that he's starting the season on the hot seat has led to these rash decisions, like trying to be aggressive at the end of the half against Denver. And now his whole focus seems to be trying not to make mistakes, which is leading to even more mistakes.
Now, maybe, yeah. I mean, obviously, he's been around this league long time. He knows how it goes. So any coach in this league, again, they all say it and they're right. You're hired to be fired. These tenures are really short. I think it's shorter than ever in this league. It seems like we see so many start and stop so quickly. So again, I don't know that the firing of Rand is like, I mean, even when he came into the organization, all this stuff had already happened with Vrabel, right?
Yep.
And so like he already knew, okay, this may be an itchy trigger finger owner. As I continue to struggle to speak, I apologize. But maybe I think you may be right. Like again, like I said it yesterday, like he just seems at times in his own head.
Yeah.
And here's an interesting one from Jeff from Nebraska, who is a Nebraska fan. He says, Brian sounds identical to his dad, and everyone knew Bill was going to be fired from Nebraska in 2007. Second guessing, defeated. Yeah.
I can't say that I paid
that
close attention.
tenure did not go well.
Yeah. Can't say that I paid close attention to Bill Callahan in Nebraska, but I'll take your word for it.
That was a very controversial move. Hey, let's go to the West Coast Offense. They've been doing the same thing. High success as a dominant program for decades. Let's try a little West Coast offense. Didn't go well.
615.
He did bring in a Ndamukong Suh, though.
It's true.
That's pretty good.
Should have won the Heisman.
You're damn right he should have.
615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts to get to on the Brian Callahan front. We will do that. Robby Weinstein coming up at 7 o'clock. We'll get into some Vanderbilt football, the undefeated Vanderbilt Commodores with him. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to the Music City Madness as Tennessee takes on Illinois at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Saturday, December the 6th. Be caller 2. Rapid fire. Caller 2, 615-737-1025. Caller 2 will win a pair of tickets to Music City Madness as Tennessee takes on Illinois at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Saturday, December the 6th. Joe, there is a name that has come up multiple times on the text line today that apparently some Titans fans want to see as the next head coach. So I feel like we have to address it. A lot of people voting for Ed Orgeron to be the next coach of the Tennessee Titans, Joe. Coach O. Multiple texts today about Coach O.
Okay, is Big Joe one of them? Is
No.
this Big Joe's latest trolling attempt?
No.
Probably not.
I mean, I saw the one earlier. Josh said something. Who else?
We got another one. We got another number right here. It says, let me give you a name for the next Titans coach and tell me what you think. Ed Orgeron.
Okay. First of all, we 100% agree. Yes, please.
That'd be awesome.
Don't care. I mean, look, we're used to losing now. This whole town is. So I don't care if they go 0-17. Coach O.
Just be entertaining.
Who's this Paul Kowalski? You sound funny, boy. I mean, we need it. Okay? If it's going to be
a lot of big words up there, man. Don't like it.
What are you, Columbia?
I'm having a press conference. We're going to have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find a bigger fan than me of getting Coach O in here to be the next coach.
I mean, I was bracing, and we've seen a lot of it for all the Gruden, right? There's a lot of Gruden, which again, I don't think Gruden's going to be in the NFL. Also, like Gruden, Gruden has been a very good coach. Are we sure that like Gruden is going to would be some amazing hire right now in the NFL?
Be better than this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But no, I'm not convinced he would be an amazing hire.
But Coach O, that is not one I had
No,
planned for. So let me tell you something. I don't know what he's doing. Every once in a while, there'll be a video on social media, and they'll just be like some like college kids like, "Hey, Coach O," and he's like, "Hey, boy, I'll kick your ass."
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, don't mess with that guy. Apparently, all he does is just lift weights and like beat up frat boys. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's what they need. Need a little bit of tough energy around here if you're the Titans.
You know what? He would hold. Well, I don't know if he holds people accountable, but he does yell and he's big. Yeah. So I mean, you got that going for you. Hey, again, just like Brian Callahan, he helped develop Joe Burrow.
That's true.
So, I mean, you got you kind of got the link there.
It's true.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Coach 0-17 says Liam.
We
Nice.
welcome more Coach O. That's good stuff. Alex from Montreal says Gruden hasn't been good since like 2008. I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Took
like
a while off doing TV in there, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes people on TV, and he's good on TV. I used to really like the QB, whatever that stuff was, right? QB
camp. Gruden's
Is that what it
QB
was?
camp, yeah.
Yeah, he's good on TV, but that doesn't always translate. I mean, I remember when the wonderful organization known as the Detroit Lions liked Matt Millen's commentary so much on Fox. They're like, let's make him the GM. Let's go back and look at Matt Millen's record as GM. Really good.
Oh, man. Now, look, Terry McCormick called in yesterday while you were doing the Rex rant. I heard others talking about this yesterday, placing a lot of importance on this week because it's the Houston game, and particularly that it's in Houston. So they're going back to Houston, and if they lose this game, could that be the final straw for Brian Callahan? Heading into the season, Joe, I never thought about it that way. Like the Vrabel game was kind of the natural connection of, all right, well, that kind of sets up to be,
an inflection
if they're
point.
a bad team by that point and Vrabel comes in with the way that thing ended with Vrabel around here and the emotion that, the owner's going to have in that and everybody associated with that. Like if they come in and just get smoked by New England, could that be the end of it? But I will say, we have seen some pretty rash decisions get made at the expense of the Houston Texans around here in this organization as well. So
No doubt.
maybe this is the week that Brian Callahan really needs to get out there and win a football game.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Again, it is just one way or the other. I'm not saying 100%. This is his job. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's like they could go, they could go play a decent game. Cam could look pretty good. Callahan could have no embarrassing gaffes where the whole league's like, wow, this guy's the worst I've ever seen. And, Amy Adams-Strunk still wouldn't be happy with a loss to the Texans, but I think it's like, okay, you can survive that. I mean, like there's such the bar is so low. It's like, don't have embarrassing moments where like basic operational stuff is botched. Don't have that, right?
Yeah, don't have embarrassing moments in your 20-point loss.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, can you be competitive? Can you be solid? Can you? So the Titans had how many penalties last game? 8, but they had 4 or 5 declined, right?
Yes.
Can you not have a slew of penalties?
Yeah.
And some of these things, and the quarterback still is what the focal point is. So again, it's like, what's the result? What's the record he needs? What's the number? Is this a win or loss this weekend? Let me see it. Let me see what it looks like.
Keith says, knowing our luck, we'll get 2 wins this season against the Patriots and the Texans, and then we'll be stuck with Callahan.
That's good enough.
If you're going to win some games, make sure it's those 2.
I got to do what Robby does. That's good enough.
Way to go.
See?
Way to go.
I got to learn to yell while backing away from the microphone.
You win in Houston, and you take down Vrabel. Maybe that's all it takes to keep your job.
2-15, but it was the right 2. But they played the Texans again.
They do, but I think the one down there means more.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think going back there and winning in Houston, I think that family just loves that.
Yeah.
And I think they're mortified when they lose down there.
Yes, because then you got to go the next day to the fox hunting convention and hear about it from everybody.
You do.
Now the Mike McCarthy. Now that's a name that people are throwing around. That now we're getting a little bit more, to me, realistic.
Yeah.
But let's not start doing that yet.
We already talking about head coaching replacements. We're going to do it at some point because I think he's going to get fired. I don't know if I have the energy to do it right now.
No, but I'm just saying. I mean, people are throwing it out there.
I know.
So at least like a name like that is reasonable. Could happen at some point when we start talking about it. If we start talking about it.
615.
The Titans have got on a huge winning streak starting now.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby Weinstein will join us coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on a historic night for Vanderbilt football the other night and the still undefeated Vanderbilt Commodores, a win away from being 5-0 and heading into Alabama a week from now with a big-time showdown coming up. So we'll get into all that with Robby Weinstein coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Going to switch gears and talk about actually a good team. And that is the Vanderbilt Commodores. And to help us do that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Robby Weinstein from 24/7 Sports. Robby, good morning, brother. How we doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, guys. I'm curious to see, as a Titans fan, whether we're going to see Vandy offensive analyst Brian Callahan soon.
Yeah, we might see that. Hey,
just stay in town for the coaching car wash.
Brian,
I liked it.
Don't even have to move. Get over there. That could be something.
I believe he's friends with Clark Lee. They're pretty good friends.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So, Robby, 70 points for Vanderbilt in this game, which I saw your tweet. The first time that the Commodores have done that since 1918. So I realized that it's Georgia State, but I said heading into the game, I mean, that's a team that got you last year. Things are going really well for Vanderbilt to this point. Don't screw around with Georgia State and Utah State before the Alabama game. And so far, one of those two has been passed. So what have you made of not only the winning that Vanderbilt has done, but the fashion in which they've done it to get to this point this year?
Really surprised by that aspect. I mean, I think before the season, I felt like they would probably beat Virginia Tech. I wasn't very high on Virginia Tech. And of course, pretty much all of us had them losing to, a top 15 ranked South Carolina team on the road. But there was a little bit of room for, hey, if South Carolina is disappointing this season, they lost a ton of talent and sort of have a top heavy roster, maybe they could pull that one off. But I mean, this is one of the slowest paced offenses in the nation. And so I didn't really think they could hang 70 on anyone, just because the efficiency that you would need to do that in terms of how many of your drives go for touchdowns would need to be off the charts. And what do you know? In the first half, I think they went, 6 for 6.
Yep.
Every drive was a touchdown, 42 points. I mean, the amount of just surgical efficiency right now is truly toward the top of college football. And look, I thought the offense would be good to really good, but I mean, they look elite right now, and that's kind of what's driving things. And I'm definitely surprised by the extent that they have dominated so far.
So obviously they've got some new weapons, and Robby, they're able to spread the ball around to a lot of different people who can make plays. And then of course Pavia, I think has improved as a passer. Are you seeing anything schematically? Are there more layers? Is Tim Beck adding stuff? Is it as simple as adding some skill, but also the offensive line actually getting to the level where it's like actually a power 4 looking offensive line? I mean, where are you looking in terms of how things have improved?
Yeah, I think certainly they've improved the talent level at the O-line and wide receiver positions. I thought coming into the season it looked like a Big 12-ish offensive line, which for Vandy is a compliment historically. But now it's like, oh gosh, maybe they are, a mid-tier SEC offensive line. Jordan White, the center, looks like he could be, a 3rd or 4th round pick. And Vandy hasn't had an offensive lineman drafted since I've been covering the team. I think the last one was Justin School by the 49ers in 2018 or something like that. So that has been a big improvement. Something interesting that I heard, I can't remember if it was from Georgia State's coach, Del McGee. It was from one of the coaches who recently faced them, basically saying they're actually more traditional or less unorthodox this season so far than they were last year, because you don't see as much of that triple option that, gave a lot of teams trouble last year. They have not had to run Diego Pavia very much. I think he only has 1 rushing touchdown, which was last game against Georgia State. So it took him 4 games to get on the board in that way. They wanted to protect him a little bit more, right? He was banged up through much of last season. And so you're seeing a lot less quarterback run, a lot less triple option, and they've still got that in the bag. That's sort of the scary thing is they've been more of a passing-oriented and traditional tailback run-oriented type of offense. Of course, there's lots of options, and it's still kind of funky, and Tim Beck is a great play caller. But the interesting thing is that they're going to potentially go into this Alabama game in a couple of weeks still having all that stuff in their bag that they haven't put on tape yet.
So, Robby, from the fan base perspective, the Charleston Southern game to begin the year, it was like, wow, look at the crowd out there at Vanderbilt. And then again, against Georgia State, you're talking about a sold-out building. Obviously, excitement for Vanderbilt fans, probably at an all-time high right now, just based on the history of their program and what they're doing. out there right now. So what have you made of, I guess, the passion, not really all that surprising, but just the number of people that are showing up for games against Charleston Southern and Georgia State to this point?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, at the end of the day, the stadium actually shrank due to the renovations. So I think capacity now is 35,000. I want to say it was 38 or 39 before in the old Vanderbilt Stadium. So it's not that high of a bar to sell out that stadium. But having said that, Charleston Southern and Georgia State, I mean, Charleston Southern is one of the worst FCS teams. I suppose that was the opener. So, pent up excitement over the last 8 months or so. Georgia State, it was a revenge game, but one of the worst FBS teams, I was a little bit surprised that they were able to get that one to a sellout. And we'll see what happens against Utah State. So certainly a better opponent, but not as much of a connection in terms of the revenge game aspect. I mean, I definitely think probably the Pavia factor and sort of the swag he has brought to the program and just the exciting brand of football that they're playing right now probably helps with that. And to be completely honest, as a Titans fan, I wonder if their struggles have helped a little bit because people probably don't want to go to 2 football games, in one weekend. And it's a low bar to sell out that stadium, but you got to credit the fans, whatever's going on right now. I mean, they're selling out against not very interesting opponents.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see, Robby, when it gets into LSU, Auburn, and some of these games coming up with fans that I'm sure they're like, oh yeah, just like the SEC fans do, right? Oh, Nashville, and we'll easily get tickets, no problem. Like what the stadium will look like then. Do you think that they'll be able to have more of their stadium for their fans in those games?
I feel like there'll be a little bit of a 1-year lag there where maybe after last season, Vandy fans were more fired up and bought some more tickets on that visiting side, like season tickets. But we know that historically a lot of visiting team fan bases will buy season tickets just for the one game and then sell the rest. I would have to think that just because Vandy is better than we expected coming into this season, that those teams' fans are probably not going to cough up the seats like, Auburn fans or Texas fans, or I guess Texas isn't coming here, but LSU, when they've already probably booked travel accommodations and all that sort of stuff. So I would still expect pretty healthy opposing crowds for SEC play, but I'm certainly open to being wrong about that.
Robby, defensively, I mean, look, we spend so much time focusing in on Pavia and the offense, and deservedly so. But defensively, when it's mattered this year, I mean, the second half against Virginia Tech, what they did against South Carolina, and I realize they knocked Sellers out of the game, and we'll never know what would have happened in the second half there. But they've just been really stout defensively there. And I wonder as the schedule is going to shift coming up to SEC play, how equipped you think they are to sustain that level where they're not shutting down like every SEC offense by any means out there, but their defense is good enough to keep you in it. Like I've been really impressed in big moments what they've done to this point defensively.
Yeah, no, I have some of the same questions for sure. I think the offense plays against anyone largely because the quarterback is, one of the top 10 quarterbacks roughly in the country. But for sure, defensively, they're sort of a bend but don't break defense. And, that has worked for them. They're okay with giving up a decent amount of yards before you get to the red zone. But, I mean, they did give up 21 points to Georgia State. That's probably a little bit more than you would want, even though I believe one of the touchdowns was relatively late in the game. They have surrendered a fair amount of yards, and it's not really the type of defense that's just going to totally choke you off. They're not super aggressive in terms of playing press man coverage at corner. The safeties are more aggressive this year under new defensive coordinator Steve Gregory, who has done a great job. But their priority still is to avoid giving up long touchdowns. And yeah, that has worked really well for them, but I still wonder against higher level athletes, sometimes Vandy looks still a little bit sketchy playing in space, especially the linebackers. And so I do think that is going to be a test for them when they get into the games against, Auburn has some really tricky wide receivers to deal with in space. Of course, Tennessee, that offense is going to spread you out. And I think that is not really a very good matchup for Vandy. It certainly has not been historically. So that's definitely something to watch. I mean, their pass rush has improved, but I still think it could get better up the middle, like a defensive tackle, interior pass rush. And they're for sure going to get challenged at the second and third levels of their defense as the season goes on.
So, Robbie, I'm guilty of this. I think everybody's doing this, which is these two games. You know, it's Georgia State, Utah State. Yeah, take care of those. Go to Alabama. Utah State is not Georgia State. I mean, Utah State's
they're not.
3-1. They have 3 blowout wins. They blew out, like Air Force, UTEP, McNeese. They lost 44-22 at Texas A&M. That's a competitive loss at a very talented team. How much of a danger could this game be?
I think they could give up some points. Honestly, I do, because Utah State, it appears to have a very good offense. Bryson Barnes, the quarterback, he may sound familiar to some fans because he was at Utah before. He actually was there and I believe beat out Nate Johnson, the former Vandy quarterback who was battling with Pavia last offseason. And then, so that was when Cam Rising had been injured. Bryson Barnes became the starter. He was okay at Utah, and at Utah State, he has been really good this season. I do think that this game will have their attention to some extent, at least because Bronco Mendenhall is the coach of Utah State, and he's, well respected nationally. He, the tenure at Virginia didn't really end well, but then he went to New Mexico and got them decently competitive in his first season, and now Utah State is already looking better than a lot of people expected. He is a mentor of Clark Lee's, and so I think that, I'm sure Clark Lee will be talking to the team about how much respect he has for Mendenhall, and, probably doesn't hurt that the former Vandy defensive coordinator, Nick Howell, is the DC at Utah State. He did not do a great job at Vandy. So then again, maybe they are overlooking him as a result of that. I don't know, but I do think they seem like a good team. And I think it is a trap game for Vandy a little bit, but I don't think it's such a poor opponent that they're just not going to take them seriously, because they do have some legit players. And I think they could score, 24 or so points, maybe a little bit more.
Well, Robbie, it's been fun to watch to this point. We're looking forward to the game coming up later this week, and we will talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yep, Robbie Weinstein, our guest from 24/7 Sports, does a fantastic job covering the Vanderbilt Commodores. By the way, Joe, what's your guess for the Vanderbilt Utah State line this weekend?
I will say Vanderbilt minus 11.5.
Double it. 22.5.
Okay,
Everybody.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. My lock is Utah State. Seriously, guys, Utah State is going to come in and score points on Vanderbilt. They just like Robbie said. I mean, I think Vanderbilt will win, but this is going to be like a 10-point game.
I'm just glad I asked you because I knew that you would underestimate the line there. It's good.
Yeah, that was bad.
22.5.
I usually have a decent.
I saw it and I was like, really? 22.5. All right. Good
My
stuff.
God, Vegas loves Vandy.
Yeah, they do. We'll take your thoughts on Vanderbilt. Plus, the SEC annual opponents have been leaked in the new 9-game conference schedule. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate Robby Weinstein for being with us in the last segment. 70 for Vanderbilt over the weekend, Joe. First time since 1918. Same year World War I ended.
I thought it was 1917. 1918?
14 to 18.
Okay. And by the way, did you know what that game was?
No.
It was Vanderbilt 76, Tennessee nothing in 1918.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
That was back when Major Nealand, or was he a major, I think, when they hired him?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. We need you. We need someone who can beat the national powerhouse called Vanderbilt. Can you do it, sir?
Hey.
And eventually he did.
Eventually he did.
And the rest is history.
Towards it, yeah.
But 107 years ago, 76 Vanderbilt, nothing Tennessee. For all you Tennessee fans calling them candy. Oh, speaking of that.
Is that a real thing?
Candy?
Yeah.
I think so.
I've never done that.
Candy.
Never seen it.
No, I absolutely see it. No, but this is an interesting post. So I have a buddy, quote, I have a buddy who always bought candy season tickets to resell. He's a UT fan. He was notified he was not eligible to buy season tickets this year because his resale percentage was too high.
Okay.
In the past, Vandy clearly hasn't cared. They just wanted the sale. Now that there's a product worth watching, they're cracking down. That should not be opposing fan number down. And
I kind of like that.
What? Yeah, no, you have to do stuff that we know well, the Preds and some of their stuff and some of the complaints about it. I do agree with what Robby said about the lag time. Like, if you have made these travel arrangements,
yeah,
you're gonna go to the game unless like a Vanderbilt fan just like, you know, I mean, there are some rich Vanderbilt fans.
Yeah,
you know, so if some of them don't have tickets, then you know maybe they can buy you out. You can go to the bar, but that's an interesting point. I also do. The thing is about the lag time is though. I just think Diego Pavia is alone a huge draw.
I agree.
And obviously this is what we think his last year. So what does that look like next year? I don't know. Like, can they sustain this? These are things that we don't need to talk about. Just like we don't need to talk about who the new Titans coach will be or who they're going to draft. It's football season. It's September.
Yeah. So the SEC opponents have been leaked for the 9-game conference schedule coming up. Now, Chris Lowe put this out there yesterday, Joe, and apparently I guess I was previously unaware of this, but you're going to have your permanent opponents, and then they'll reevaluate it in 4 years. So in 4 years, they'll take a look and see what's working, not working with the permanent opponents, and maybe they'll make some adjustments at that point. On the Vanderbilt front, there are 3 permanent opponents. Tennessee, which, no duh, we knew that was going to be the case. Auburn and Mississippi State are their 3 permanent opponents in the SEC for the next 4 years. On the Tennessee front, Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. We wondered who that third would be. Would it be Florida? Would it be Kentucky? Would it be somebody else random? It's Kentucky. Alabama, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, the 3 permanent opponents for Tennessee. So what do you make of that draw and those 3 opponents for Vanderbilt and Tennessee?
Yeah, I really don't like I understand that there's more history with Kentucky for Tennessee, but I think the Florida rivalry should have been maintained. I'm disappointed by that. I know the thing that most people are talking about is that Alabama LSU is no longer an annual thing, and that's too bad, but that's the thing with Alabama, right? It's like, so it was going to be Auburn, obviously, Tennessee, I think, obviously, and I'm certainly glad that that's the case. And then instead they get Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Alabama fans would have been mad if it was Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. That would have seemed unfair. Boy, that's a good rivalry. For Tennessee, I just wish Florida was maintained. I just think that, look, man, the 90s was a long time ago. The early 90s was a long time ago. That history means more to me, just generally as a college football fan, than the Tennessee-Kentucky series history. So I wish it was Florida. I'd like to know how you think.
No, I'm totally with you. I mean, Florida is a game that means, as a Tennessee fan, a lot more to me than the Kentucky game does. Now, I will say this. There's a lot of complaining I saw yesterday from, like, other SEC fan bases of, like, oh, Tennessee's got it soft. Like, it's like Alabama, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Like, first off, Vanderbilt looks pretty good.
We have been talking about how good Vanderbilt
we'll
is.
see what Vanderbilt looks like move forward. Secondly, I didn't hear many people talking much sympathy about when Tennessee, for my entire life, has played Alabama, Georgia, and Florida every year. So
Yeah.
I have limited sympathy for those who think Tennessee's draw is soft. It's like, yeah, well, they're probably owed some softness after Alabama, Georgia on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, and I do feel bad for Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia, and then you've got Vanderbilt as their third.
Yeah, it's like you look at these. It's like, okay, Auburn, you get Vanderbilt.
Right.
Okay, Alabama, you get Mississippi State.
Right. There's a clear effort here to try to balance it as much as they could. It's never going to be perfect with the balance part of it.
Right. Yeah, like and like LSU, I mean, I think Arkansas, that's a long-standing rivalry. LSU Ole Miss, I'm glad that's maintained. And then I mean, LSU Texas A&M, you know, I mean, that's worthwhile. Some of these schools have 3 or more where you're like, you need to maintain. Some of them have 1.
Right.
And that's the thing that's interesting. I do like what they're doing in terms of the 4-year thing. And I like that the way it's going to work is that they're all going to play each other home and road in that. That's good. I mean, because it's already so ridiculous with these, with the size of these leagues. Something that I find a little bit confusing, like, for example, Texas, their stuff all makes sense. Texas A&M, Texas, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, right? But Oklahoma, I guess I would think that Oklahoma and like A&M would be a natural thing, but it's not. They are not together. Oklahoma's with Missouri as their number 1 rival, which I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess we're going back to the old Big 8 / Big 12. Then Ole Miss and Texas. That one was a little weird to me.
Well, if A&M ended up with LSU, Oklahoma, and Texas, they would probably riot.
Yes.
That'd be that's 3 pretty tough ones.
It is 3 pretty tough ones. As is, they got LSU and Texas, and then Missouri, which again, it's like, well, you get Missouri. Well,
I mean,
that's
Missouri,
not necessarily
undefeated.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a break. I mean, that's the thing about the league too. And so right now, Missouri's up, Vanderbilt's up, Kentucky. I mean, it looks good for Tennessee now. It wasn't that long ago. That's like, it's actually it's like they're a solid program that could beat you. They just never beat Tennessee, which again is another reason why it's like, I don't want that series anymore because like I already know who's going to win the game. I'm sorry, Kentucky fans. Like, you never beat Tennessee. It's weird.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm sure you are.
I'm cool with it. Yeah, I mean, I also love the Alabama one. It's like, well, we knew the Iron Bowl was going to be protected. We knew Tennessee, Alabama was going to be protected. And all the Alabama fans are like, well, we hate LSU too. Throw them in there. And it's like, well, we'll throw you Mississippi State. You just have Mississippi State.
Yeah. That's definitely one of those. Okay, let's help them out. Meanwhile, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt get each other. So,
they do.
I mean, that's how, and that's how they're viewed. But hey, by the way, Mississippi State's undefeated this year too. I'm just saying.
Big game coming up.
They
on
beat
Saturday.
Arizona State.
Big game between Tennessee and Mississippi State coming up on Saturday. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Some, I think, maybe unexpected news in the world of college sports yesterday. We'll get into that. Coming up next, the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode later this hour at 7:45. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up here in just a few minutes at 7:45. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, some, I guess, unexpected news yesterday in the world of college sports. Bruce Pearl, former Vols coach, most recently with the Auburn Tigers, did a great job with the Auburn Tigers, announced his retirement, and his son, Stephen Pearl, is taking over the program and will be the head coach of Auburn on a 5-year deal that Stephen Pearl has taken here. So, I mean, we're not that far away from the beginning of college basketball season coming up here in a couple of months. And here we are, Bruce Pearl announcing his retirement and Stephen Pearl taking over. So I was pretty stunned when I saw that. Now, admittedly, I have not been keeping up with Bruce Pearl this offseason, so maybe this has been something that's been coming. But I was surprised by it. What did you think of the timing of it and the announcement of Bruce Pearl's retirement?
Yeah, well, I thought this was coming in like May. I did a big story on the Pearls last year, and I basically became like the Auburn beat writer for the Athletic. So, and they told me, I mean, I can say it now, like, you know, off the record, because it's there now. They've done it. Is that basically the plan was, you know, that Bruce wants to hand it off to Stephen. The question was, first of all, is the administration on board, right? Because that is, you know, now there's a lot of ADs out there, rightfully so, who would be like, yeah, Bruce, amazing coach. Not sure that means that we want your son to be the new coach.
Yeah.
But I figured once we got to this point, yeah, obviously I figured, okay, so Bruce is going to do one more year. But I figured it'd be like one more year most. I knew it was coming soon. So it turns out it's okay. It's right for the season. And when I first saw it, yes, I'm like, oh, man, he just put them in a tight spot here. What are they going to do? But it's really interesting because there was no initial mention of Stephen Pearl. And then like a couple hours later, there's a release. Stephen Pearl is the new coach. In fact, like, it seems crazy to think that like in a day he basically put them in a bind and they said, well, we just have to do it.
Right.
Like, it seems like this must have been something the administration knew, but it was weird. And even weird. There was some weird stuff with this yesterday where I'm like, did he just actually just pull this off on them? And then he just rammed him into the coach. Either way, this has obviously been their plan, and it's going to be fascinating with Stephen Pearl because he has sort of taken over in a lot of ways as the big tactician on the staff. He's been, you know, he's recruited a lot of their best players. Like, he's done all the work to get to this point. I just think it's hard. It's going to be hard to follow Bruce Pearl. No one has a personality like Bruce Pearl. Stephen doesn't, you know, he's not that guy who just commands a room. And so it's going to be really interesting. As far as Bruce Pearl, and I wrote a column about him today, and a lot of people are mad at me because it's like I called Jay Billis, and, you know, he's like, yeah, you know, basically he was a cheater, but who cares? You know, which is, well, Billis's point is, you know, Jerry Tarkanian and Rick Pitino are in the Naismith Hall of Fame. Yeah. Why would Bruce Pearl not be? And I totally agree. He should be. I think he will be. But he's a very people who hate him, who hate Auburn or Tennessee or whatever. Like, I get it. Like there's coloring outside the lines, and then there's like taking all the coloring books out of the library in your bag and stealing them and walking. I mean, this is not just like he did it, man. He put the pedal to the metal there when he was at Tennessee. And I don't know the barbecue thing. Who gives a crap about a barbecue? He lied to investigators, just like Harbaugh, right? If you're going to lie to investigators, like that's the barbecue itself is not really the issue.
A pretty good barbecue from what I hear, though.
What's that?
A pretty good barbecue from what I hear.
I mean, I hope it was a good barbecue. Yeah. I hope the Kraft family very much enjoyed it. But look, great coach. I mean, bottom line is he won everywhere. His style of play, the aggression, you know, they used to do more like with Tennessee, the up tempo, the pressure and things like that. And just a great basketball coach. And you think about it, you know, in the SEC, he's like the 5th winningest coach of all time. There's only 4 coaches that have more Final Four than the 2 he got at Auburn. But to do what he did at 2 programs, all those other winningest coaches, they're almost all like the Kentucky coaches. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like to do what he did at Tennessee, which is, you know, let's see, how old were you when he got there? So you're probably about 12, 13 years old. Like, no one gave a crap about Tennessee basketball.
That is correct.
and he turned it into a power and and I think that the job was so much better when Rick Barnes took it to now become the winningest coach. I think you give Bruce Pearl credit. At Auburn, no one has ever cared about Auburn. When Charles Barkley was there, no one cared about Auburn basketball.
Yeah.
Tell me, Auburn fans, that you don't care about basketball now. It's a great atmosphere, and I mean, he did all that.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, it is kind of interesting to think about. Obviously, I mean, the run that he had at Tennessee to set that up. I mean, they're number one team in the country. I mean, still to this day, I think the greatest college basketball game that I have watched, probably due to my, personal, fandom involved with it. But like that Tennessee-Memphis game was unbelievable.
It was awesome.
Like it was crazy. So like that was awesome. And he was right at the center of that. And I'm with you. Like if Pearl doesn't take the job at Tennessee and do what he did there, do they eventually end up with Rick Barnes? Probably not, right? Like it's probably like I think that Barnes saw something and saw that you could be successful there. I think that's probably a big reason why he took the job. I never thought about it that way, but when you lay it out, it kind of makes sense that way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that he totally changed the profile of the job. And so when Rick was, the Texas thing had just kind of gotten old and stale, and both sides kind of needed a change. And this is a viable option. Whereas before, now some people will say, look, Tennessee fans, let me see with baseball. And I think there's some truth to this too. Like if you succeed at Tennessee in something, like they will show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, you still had to have proof of concept. And that program, here and there, you had some good teams. You had some good teams here in the late 90s, early 2000s. And obviously, I mean, you go back to the 70s with Ernie Bird. You can go back. Yeah, like Dale Ellis was great. Allen Houston, but those teams weren't even good when they had Allen Houston. His dad was coaching. So I just think what he did to sustain that absolutely changed the profile. And Auburn, good for Stephen Pearl. We'll see. I think there are some challenges because I think with a fan base, if things go poorly, I think it just makes it more intense. We talked earlier in the Six Guy about coaches being embattled.
Yeah. I
do think if you're Bruce Pearl's son and you take over the program, if it goes poorly, I think the fan, Daddy's not here to save you. I mean, that's just how it goes in sports.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a challenge. But if it wasn't him, like I think that job could have attracted some very good candidates that you wouldn't have had a few years ago. Remember, when Bruce Pearl took the job, he was still under the show cause, 3-year show cause from the NCAA. He couldn't even talk to recruits. But Auburn's like, that's okay. When you're able to in a few months, we'll be happy to have you as a coach. But he was it was a great job for him to get at that time, given his situation. Now Auburn is an attractive job.
So is this going to be what we do in college sports now? So he's, Steve Belichick apparently going to get the North Carolina job when Bill's all said and done.
Is he?
I don't know. That's the plan, I think.
I don't know if Steve Belichick's going to get the North Carolina Central job.
I don't know that he is either.
Coaching
but I just
safeties.
remember talking to Charles Robinson about like that clearly being like Bill's plan.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, they're not off to a good start.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Is this the new thing? Like Stephen Pearl gets the Auburn job. Bill Belichick wants Steve Belichick to eventually get the North Carolina job. Just a bunch of fathers coming in and be like, here you go, son. Here's the job for you.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, how many other examples do we have of that? Have we? DePaul. Now that I'm going back, I'm dating myself, but Ray Meyer, great, long time, and he gave it to Joey Meyer. And again, people were, he wasn't as good as his dad's like, oh, Joey lost again. I can't think of too many. If there are other examples out there, let me know. But remember with like with the Preds, it's like Brian Poyle might be the greatest personnel man in the history of hockey. I don't know, but just because he's David Poyle's son, fans are going to be like, no, right? So you're asking for
increased scrutiny.
Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Probably why you don't see it too much, but yeah, that Belichick plan.
They look great.
I mean, it's they just got absolutely crushed by Central, as Bill calls them.
I love how mad UCF was about that too.
Oh yeah.
Like, where are you, the University of Central Florida?
Yeah,
We're
Scott,
not Central.
Scott Frost is back to talking trash now.
I like
Now that he's back at UCF. Congratulations.
We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Glorious. Victorious.
They think you're some buffoon.
Somebody run over the fraternity. Throw a freaking brick through their window.
Most of their time is spent on grass.
Rexrode, you said we were going to lose, you jerk.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
PK's uninformed on something else.
It's so fun to hear you try to be hip.
I might lose my mind today.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Joe Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Hold on. What? I don't know what it is. Hold on, don't tell me.
The more we can have of you singing, the better off we all are.
You, my friend. What the heck is this?
It's a TV theme.
Oh my God. I love that song. I know I love the show. Gosh darn it. It's not. I was like, oh, is this the Silver Spoons theme? Wait, is that Family
It's from your
Ties?
girl. No.
Oh, that's Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss?
Oh my God, duh. I'm so dumb. That's a great pull there. Thank you. Redemption came right with Who's the Boss on the YouTube chat. Golly. I mean, we're sitting here watching Alyssa Milano on Charmed every day in this. Like basically we talk sports and watch Charmed in this studio. That's what we do. And I totally botched that. Yeah, I know. Redemption, you're right. I grew up in the 80s. I don't know. It's one of those things like I haven't seen the actual show in so long, you know. Great job. So I was gonna rant today. You know, we've talked a lot about Auburn. I don't want to make Auburn fans feel any worse, but just to let you know, like the SEC official, the SEC officiating crew. Maybe I'll do a 3-pronged rant.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So the SEC officiating crew. This is a perma rant. I'll bring it back. They completely botched it. They actually went over the rule with Venables, apparently. So Venables told him, because that's what you're supposed to do. When you do these plays as a coach, you tell that, like, by the way, this is what we're, just so you know, because you don't want something to all of a sudden a flag or something or whatever to misunderstand. Well, this TD that shouldn't have counted, where they were sneaking again the sideline. I mean, the rule, but clearly does not allow it, yet they signed off on it. So the SEC needs to be transparent and suspend them this week and tell us that they're suspended. It's called accountability. For some reason, some leagues worse than others. The SEC, as bad as it gets, can never just hold anybody publicly accountable.
Yeah.
So
they did release a statement that says appropriate accountability will be applied without additional comment.
Right. Tell us. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let the consequences be known. Like, why that has to be kept a secret. Someone explain it to me. It makes no sense. It's a joke. Okay, that's one. Two, I mean, Willie's just spamming me, man. And like Willie is just all over me on UC Saros. Like, why I'm just sitting
Apparently
here.
we're gonna have a debate in a couple weeks.
So we're gonna have a debate on this show?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like
when did we bring up Saros?
We didn't.
Willie attacks me. He attacks me all the time. Willie is just on the attack, and I just get a random text every once in a while about like this goalie deal or that goalie deal, and it's like, again, like I'm just concerned that the Preds deal. I don't care about anybody else in the league or who they did with this goalie or that goalie, or they didn't earn it. That's great that he's earned it. But again, I don't care about earning your contract. I care about what are you going to do while you're under that contract. It was a huge decision for the Preds. We both didn't think it was the right way to go. I hope we're both wrong as rain.
Because I'm tired of watching bad sports around here. I hope UC Saros has a .970 save percentage this year.
Yeah. So, but right now, the only question is he going to be great moving forward? Because just because his deal is going to, the cap's going up and there's other deals, or his deal isn't gigantic, it's still a significant chunk. Thank you. It's still a significant chunk. He has to perform. Yeah. And if he doesn't perform, and if his age, his style, his size, all that stuff turns out to be what I was concerned with, well, then nothing else matters. Stop attacking me, Willie. And then
we'll see you in a couple weeks, Willie.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple weeks. And then I guess I'll come back to this too. I mean, I don't know. Is Burrow Ben serious, or is that actually Big Joe? Is Burrow Ben actually Big Joe in disguise? Every time something really pisses me off, I'm like,
well, Burrow Ben is Indy Ben.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, well, first of all, it's disappointing. Why are you changing your name in the YouTube chat? Just call yourself Indy Ben. That's how we know you. So there's another rant, making a fourth rant. But this is what he said. So is he trolling, or I don't know. He said, this is what soft Nashville media sounds like, covering a team that is the absolute worst in the league, making light of things and getting a good laugh. So now I know you're a Colts fan saying that. It changes it. because I was going to be like, what are we supposed to do anymore but laugh? If we can't laugh at these things, like, how do we get through a day?
Yeah, like
what do we do?
Look, plenty of criticism has been lobbed the Titans' way on this show. I can't do 17 weeks like we did last year of just looking at them and dissecting every angle of how bad they are. They suck. And until further notice, they suck. We all know it. We don't need reminding of it on a daily basis around here. So, yeah, we're going to laugh at some stuff they do every now and then. Sorry.
I mean, maybe a lot. Like, I'm basically I have been relegated to coming up with names. I mean, that's really what I do with my spare time. Cheese Whiz, Nice Whiz, Whiz Kid,
10 cheeks, tight buns.
10 cheeks, tight buns. I mean, it's
Low
eyes
Titans.
open. Let's go pee.
That's right.
I think I'm going to come up with a song. Okay. How about that?
Well, it's been a minute since you've done that. So.
I know. Well, it stinks because I actually had this great song about Jared's film room that I was working on, but then I never did it, and now he's gone. Am I still allowed to sing my Jared film room song?
I don't know. I guess.
It's in the voice of Michael McDonald to the song "What a Fool Believes." I have a whole plan, but I've never been able to unveil it.
Well, yeah.
Hashtag Jared's film room. See, I can do a whole song like that.
You had the entire song written at one point, didn't you? Then you got your laptop stolen in Knoxville, Tennessee.
God, is that right?
Yeah.
So that's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a gene, like John Lennon working on like his genius album. And oh man,
it's like
I didn't realize it had been that long in the making.
It's like a Blink 182 songwriting experience. Takes a lot of time, a lot of effort.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So that was 3 rants from Rexrode? Was it 4?
What
did we
3.5.
No 3.5?
Yeah, I'm just
Koharski'd be all over him today.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
You weren't monitoring your tone very much.
Yeah. I'm just
the old 3 for 1 from Rexrode. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, you get more bang for your buck there, right?
I agree. 615-737-1025, our phone number. I feel bad every time we mention Indy Ben on the show, he just gets attacked on the text line. Just attacked.
Austin, Indy Ben needs to get off his high horse. The Colts are going to get cracked here soon, and it will come back down to earth. But my God. Do you have that, by the way? I mean, let's just make this an absolute smorgasbord of poop.
I need to come up with a time. How many times per show does Joe just put Ian right on the spot?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you have that?
You got that?
You got that ready to go?
Let's go.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Titans. Hey, Cam Ward. Woo! This is our team. Go Colts.
I got to say,
he was right.
I was a little disappointed in that one.
Yeah, there was
the Titans are so bad that we can't even properly make fun of them anymore.
Yeah, I like the
who part.
I like the puns.
Yeah,
but also, did you notice? So I just noticed that. So he said we love them, but usually he says we love you in rhymes.
No, he always says we love them. I'm an expert on this guy. Trust me.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
The first part seems the script.
Yeah.
I thought we love you. He says we love them.
No. Yeah, every time.
Huh,
He's consistent.
All right. Okay.
This has been the Rex Rant.
Hold on. This is pretty good. Matt has a submission.
All right.
Kind Wizenhunt. That's good. That's better than mine. Good job. Kind Wizenhunt.
That's good.
Yep. We must laugh. Okay. We must laugh. This is what we are left with.
The Rex Rant brought to you by Functional Medicine of
You're
Tennessee.
welcome.
Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. We will get back into the Titans coming up next, including what is turning into a nice weekly tradition here on the show, reading from a certain former member of the Titans. I get excited about it. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, broadcasting live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Adam in Portland saying Cheese Whiz, by far the best name.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of partial to Kind Wizenhunt now.
Kind Wizenhunt is good. Drew says Brian Callahan.
Okay.
That could apply shortly.
That could.
For him. We'll
That
see
could. That could.
what happens on that front. Indy Ben is
mad.
He doesn't care about the opinion of Titans fans. He says, I couldn't care less what Titans fans attacking me think. I love how a certain group of Titans fans and media still try to attack the Colts when their own team is a crap show. You all have no credibility when you do that. This is from Indy Ben.
So that's all fine when it comes to the comparing the teams, but I think you could care less because you are often listening to a show that's revolving around a Nashville sports teams. I'm not saying I want you to leave. Stay.
Oh, we love Indy Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you have to admit, like, you kind of are asking for it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's fine. As long as you're
I hope
okay with that, Indy Ben.
I hope Indy Ben takes some solace in the fact that he is I don't know if beloved figure, but is an important member of the Robby and Rexrode program, because every time he says something, it gets Titans fans riled up.
And we've, Todd from Jacksonville he hasn't talked to us in a while. So we're your only hope, Indy Ben.
Yeah. We got a lot of Colts fans that
Colts fans are all over this show.
A lot of Colts fans around here. A lot of Colts fans. Taking your thoughts.
Fun fall so far.
615-737-1025. Thanks, Bev. So I've really enjoyed Blake Bedingfield and his weekly columns that he contributes to paulkuharski.com. We talked last week about some things that stood out to him, including Femi Oladejo basically being a no-show out there. And Bedingfield gives, the best things he saw from the Titans each week, which feels like it may be a progressively shorter and shorter list as the season goes on. The worst things that he saw from the Titans each week, which continues to grow on a weekly basis, according to the length of this article here. But Bedingfield said something interesting at his latest piece at paulkuharski.com about ownership. And I just want to read a couple of graphs from you, Joe. It says, the issue starts at the top with ownership. I've said for years that a general manager and a head coach should love working for Amy Adams-Strunk and have great success if the right people are hired, because she's an absentee owner that lives predominantly in Texas and lets them do their job. But in my opinion, my opinion has changed over the past few years with all the coaching and front office changes since she took over the franchise. It is not a winnable situation anymore. Team owners need to have people in the building that they trust and can rely on, who will give an honest opinion on how to fix a losing situations. And those confidants must not have self-protecting interest. That's why it's equally important for them to have someone outside the building that they can lean on who doesn't have an agenda or ties to the team. My advice for Strunk is to create an environment of accountability. When losses mount and players are not performing, there must be accountability as to whether someone is drafting players who aren't performing or if someone is failing to coach them and get their strengths to flourish. It starts now. It can't wait until another coach or GM is fired. It must start Monday morning. That's what Blake Bedingfield had to say on the ownership part of this as it relates to Amy Adams-Strunk. So, Joe, when you read that, when you hear that, what do you make of it? What stands out to you about that?
Well, first of all, you're welcome, Paul Kuharski, for us putting all of your premium content on the air.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Check it out at paulkuharski.com.
That's right. Yeah, I thought the interesting thing there that really stood out to me was team owners need to have people in the building they can trust and rely on, who will give an honest opinion on how to fix a losing situation, and those confidants must not have self-protecting interests. So I that's very interesting. I mean, I agree with it, but also it's like this is the situation she's created, right? I mean, it just feels like it's just this constant churn of, oh, now you're in favor, now you're out of favor, you're out. Okay, now this person joins this person. Let's see if we can put them together. Let's see if they can work. Up, nope. So now this person's out. And I think when you have that when you go down that road, I think it's hard given human nature for people not to have self-protecting interests because so it's an interesting point that he makes because he's like talking about environment of accountability. And I agree with that too, but what is accountability? Because with the Titans, what it has been is like, it doesn't necessarily take much and she's going to fire you. So then doesn't that create self-protecting interests? You know?
It's tough balance. And I'm guilty of this too, because I have been critical of Amy Adams Strunk and the way that she has handled things with some of her decisions over the past few years, right? Like we've talked about it with J-Rob and with Vrabel, and you fire Rand after 2 years. Like it's been a revolving door around there. And yet I look at it now, we talked about it last week. You can swing too far the other way too, right? Like you can swing too far the other way where you're scared to death to fire somebody because of how you think it's going to be perceived, that you allow something harmful to happen, right? Like you allow, like if Brian Callahan's a bad coach, the last thing they need as an organization is for him to be around Cam Ward for an extended period of time. I'm sorry. Like if he's just not a good coach and he's not the guy that's going to bring out the best in Cam Ward, they don't need him to be around Cam Ward very long. So like you can swing too far the other way of, having the quick trigger, and you can swing so far the other way that you don't have a quick trigger enough when it comes to it. It's a really difficult balance, I think, to strike, especially when you've been criticized the way that she has over the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, look, again, she was out there, didn't say anything, but it's supposed to be this great celebration of Mike Keith. And again, it is. He goes in the Ring of Honor. It's a great thing for him, but boos are overpowering. She decides to have Bert Nihill, speak instead of her. Obviously, the boos are like, I was thinking about that situation. It's like, so think about the logistics of that. So they're like in the tunnel, ready for this, right? They're sitting there, they're talking, whatever. Maybe I'll be catching up, or like, do they even know what's going on in the game? You know what I mean? Like how closely are you paying? So in other words, like all the stuff that happened at the end, they're in there getting ready for the ceremony and they're about to come out in the field and everything. And it's like, okay, this will be great. And then it's like, wait, why are the boo? Like, is it really this bad? Like, did you know in the moment that it was because of specific coaching blunders that you just totally intensified the angst in the stadium? Or is it had to be like later? You're like, so why were they? Oh, he did what? I don't know.
Listen to the crowd. Michael Ruse is back out there. Listen to the crowd.
But so there's a total like in your face moment for the owner of how bad things are.
Yeah.
Not that she didn't know before, but like in case you were wondering what the fan base thinks, and because some people want to say, well, talk radio this, or someone writes a column or social media. That's the loud minority of people, right?
Right.
Well,
we found out that it's not.
Sunday is very clear. Like the entire fan. Sometimes it's like, no, what people are saying on social media and talk radio and things like that is actually what everybody's saying.
Well, and
that's where you are right now.
Even I'm not saying that our show is the be all end all in terms of like they're generating.
Say it, Jared.
Maybe I should. Our show is the be all end all in terms of like gauging a fan base and what the response is. But generally speaking, Joe, on like most things we discuss with the Titans, there is some level of divide, right? Like there's some level of opinion on both sides of whatever argument we're talking about, whether it's the coach or the general manager, or even the owner. Like we've had some discussions about Amy Adams Strunk, and we've heard from Titans fans that don't think we're being hard enough on the owner, and some Titans fans think we're being way too hard on Amy Adams Strunk. So that's generally speaking what the reaction looks like when it comes to a fan base. I think maybe the thing that stood out the most to me over the last couple of weeks on the Callahan front, I've heard very few seen very few defenders of Callahan to this point. Like it's almost non-existent this week when it comes to the defenders of Brian Callahan. And it's different because, certainly at the end of the Vrabel tenure, people on both sides of the argument, even at the end of Rand last year, people on both sides of the argument. I've not seen it like this, just based on our reaction, where it's like pretty much universally like they're like, this guy sucks. Got to get him out.
Yeah. And I'm not, maybe not everyone like he must go right now, but definitely. And there are people who are very patient, level-headed, et cetera, who are like, this is unbelievable, because it is. Again, it's just like 3 games, and in 2 of them, you've been a league-wide story for coaching blunders.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not normal. That is so anyway, that intensifies the whole situation. But I just find it really interesting. And again, I mean, I get it. Like Blake worked for the Titans for a long time.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, like Bedingfield is why Derrick Henry was here. I mean, really, I understand John Robinson and Mike Mularkey made the decision, but he's the one who pushed hard on draft day, and they were not going to do it. But it's just interesting to read sort of like his changing perception of working for her. The absentee owner thing, I can see how like that could be good in some way, right? Like, let us do our job. We're good at our job. Let's go.
Right.
But then when you start having these problems, then that makes it a worse working situation.
From a player perspective, do you think they'd enjoy more the absentee owner or someone who's in the building all the time, like a Haslam? As a player, what do you think?
I don't think most players want to see the owner that much, right?
I would agree with that. I think there's probably
an in between there.
An in between. Like I
Those
think,
are the extremes.
Knowing that they're around and that they've got a grasp of what's going on, I think can be beneficial. But yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I don't think the players want to be walking around the facility and like, oh, there's the owner again. I've seen the owner 8 times today.
Yeah.
Like,
hi, Jerry.
Hi.
Yeah, I do wonder what the balance is there about showing you care,
right,
versus like all up in everybody's business,
right. Well, because the criticism goes the other way too. When you are an absentee owner and you're not around all that much, well, then the fan base is like, well, how could she possibly have any clue what's going on? She's never here. Yeah. And we heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Before she took over as controlling owner, that was a big thing around here of,
yes,
these people aren't here. They're in Houston. They don't care. Why should we care?
Yep. And then she did a lot to repair that. But again, what really repairs it? She did a good job for sure. And she was visible and things were going well. But what really repaired it was that they had some good football teams.
Correct.
And they started firing good people, starting with Mike Mularkey.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Continuing this conversation on the Titans coming up next. Interesting comments from Blake Bedingfield. We'll continue the discussion on Amy Adams-Strunk. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Talking to Amy weekly, and what have those conversations been like to this point? Have you talked to her yet this week?
Yeah, we talk weekly. I'll keep all those conversations private as I always do. But yeah, I'm in communication with her all the time.
You heard yet this week?
Again, I'll keep all those conversations private.
That's Brian Callahan yesterday. He is not revealing whether or not he's spoken with Amy Adams-Strunk so far this week.
Why the fart were they booing me?
Brian, how many timeouts were called before you guys couldn't decide whether or not to kick a field goal out there? Delay a game.
That
My
is
goodness.
Is it possible?
Did you try to kick an 85-yard field goal with Joey Sly out there? No, he's got a strong leg, Brian, but come on.
Like, is it possible that there's like some sort of they're not doing like an in-season Titans thing, are they? Like like every team does like the in-house.
Oh God, I hope so.
Like if they were, you would think like the Mike Keith things, a little footage of him and
where's the Cam Ward? Where's the Cam Ward Tubi stuff?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it.
That's a good question too.
Maybe there's some behind the scenes something in there. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, like that would be great, Just so everybody just having a good time right before half, everything's fine. Okay, here we go. Let's go out. Woo! I mean, with Mike Keith, like no one's gonna get booed. We bring Mike Keith out, right? Everybody loves Mike Keith.
Disaster.
Good times.
Just a total disaster. Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Wes and Hermitage to the program. Wes, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Morning, guys. I got to tell you, I was on hold. Joe, I heard the Gout commercial come on. It about took me out. I thought somebody was playing with me. That was the first time I've heard that commercial.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it was great.
Thank you.
Man,
I'm a pitch man, and I'm not afraid to talk about my gout. All right, so good.
And you know what? You shouldn't be. Stand on that, Joe. I hear you.
Amen.
My question is not should we fire Brian Callahan, but it's more so when is the best time to do it? Because I hear both, like fire him now, fire him at the end of the season. I don't know what's true, what's the best case scenario, but I'll tell y'all this: if that man is coaching this team when Vrabel comes to town, I don't even know what to expect. But Vrabel will embarrass us in Nashville if that man is still coaching. So what do you do here?
Thank you, Wes. I appreciate the call. I think that's a big question because I don't know the answer. I said yesterday I'm done. Like I'm ready. If they had announced yesterday that they fired Brian Callahan, I would have said, cool, yeah, that's fine. Like I have no problem with it. If they lose to Houston on Sunday, particularly if it's ugly, is that going to be enough to pull the trigger? Should it be enough to pull the trigger? I mean, I think it comes down to the question that I asked yesterday, Joe. We talked heading into the season. I think we all know the score and what this season is really about. It's about Cam Ward. So do you feel like he is an asset to Cam Ward, or do you feel like he's a detriment to Cam Ward? That would be the question that I'd be asking. If I'm Borgonzi, if I'm Brinker, if I'm Amy Adams-Strunk, that's the question I want to know right now. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. The record's bad. The in-game decision stuff has been pretty awful. So what do we feel like this means for his relationship with Ward? Is he bringing Ward along at the pace that we expected? Do we feel like if he's the head coach in 8 weeks from now, is that going to hinder Cam Ward's growth? I mean, those are the questions I'd be asking if I'm the Titans. And I think that the answer to those questions, whatever your answer is, determines the timeline here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, this is where we talked last week about Cam Ward's endorsements of Brian Callahan, some of them unprompted, just wanting everybody to know he likes Brian Callahan and he would like some grass to play on. Okay. Two things and I imagine he'll be outspoken about other things too, which is great. So I don't think it's like, hey Cam, like come on in here, man. So really, do you really like Brian? I don't know that it gets to that, but yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's all about that. Is Cam Ward progressing under Brian Callahan? Is he learning from Brian Callahan? Does he like him? Do they have a good relationship? Are we seeing progress behind the scenes, digging deep, day to day? Is it a partnership that's helping him become a better NFL quarterback? And if it is, then I think that the other stuff we wait to the end of the year. I mean, in my opinion. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, like if you said, if you actually think he's a detriment, well, then yeah, I don't. Then go ahead and fire him. Then I mean, if you actually think he's a detriment to Cam Ward, which frankly I think that sounds a little bit far fetched, but I don't know. I mean, obviously the operational stuff has been a disaster.
I mean, I don't think it's that far fetched. I mean, everything about him is a detriment to this point.
Yeah, I mean, but you still do have to separate the things, right? I mean, like Brian Callahan. Just like any of these coaches, knows football up and down, play calling, play design, staying up on stuff. It's his life. Okay. So like that can still be true, and he can still completely botch things on a Sunday. He can completely botch things on a Sunday and during the week still be doing things to help Cam Ward get better. That's not some crazy idea that both of those things could be true.
Sure, but it's also not crazy that the guy who can't figure out when to send a field goal unit on the field may not be the guy you want in charge of developing your quarterback. Like,
it's possible.
The guy who you hired to be a play caller, who is shown to be not a very good play caller, may not be the right guy to lead your quarterback. Like, I don't think it's crazy to have that's exactly the question I would be asking right now. Like, are we sure that we want Brian Callahan leading our quarterback the next few weeks?
That's the one thing that's been kind of discouraging for me. No matter who's been at quarterback the last 2 seasons, the offense pretty much looks the same. Even with Rudolph in there, there was a lot of people, just switch Levis for Rudolph. It'll get better. That did not happen. It looked exactly the same. And this year doesn't look much different either.
And it's not just the offensive line.
So I don't know.
No, but I start there though.
You can start there, but it's not just the offense.
There's some disconnect about him and the scheme.
It's him.
Getting him.
It's time to call it what it is.
Get the players to. They're not on the same page.
Yeah, it's him. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think you have to ask the question of, is he a detriment to the development of your quarterback? And I'm leaning yes.
It's a fair question, but I still say that these two things can absolutely be separate. They can
be for sure. I don't disagree with you there. The evidence tells me that they're not in this instance. Just 30,000 feet out. I'm not in the building every day. So again, they should know better than me. Like the people asking this question, should know the answer to that question.
Yeah, and another thing Wes brought up there, I will say, everybody's talking about like Vrabel. Vrabel doesn't have a very good team. Right?
That's the thing.
People should keep that in mind. Like I mean, who knows? Like what the Titans will look like then, or whatever. But like Vrabel doesn't have a team that come into any NFL team. He's just going to crush you, and maybe he will.
The Titans, I would like to remind you, they beat that team last year.
That's right. That's right. They did. So I don't know. I mean, I think you're right as far as the overall question of when is the right time. Yeah, look, if it's actually like there's actually questions of the building and like Cam. And like what he's saying publicly and maybe privately are different. And they're, and again, to me, it's like also, okay, if you fire him, you need this time the rest of the year to like develop, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay. So like, do you trust Bo Hardegree? Like, is he good? And it's like, he can deal with them and work on stuff and be fine, or Holtz or whatever. Like, I think that's all part of it too, is like, okay, in the aftermath of firing Callahan, right, what does it look like for Cam? And is it beneficial, or is it just a totally thrown away year if you do that?
It's not beneficial. Like, let me make that clear. Like, you can think
Brian beneficial Callahan, enough,
you can think Brian Callahan is bad, which I do. And you can think that the Titans need to move on from him sooner rather than later, which I do, while also recognizing that, I mean, not much is going to change in the meantime, right? Like you're still going to have Brian Callahan's staff. It's not like they're changing up the playbook or anything. Like, it's going to be Brian Callahan's staff, and it's going to be, Bo Hardegree or Nick Holtz or whoever it is that's leading the offense after that. Like, it's Mike McCoy. But your ultimate answer to who you hope develops Cam Ward won't be here for a few months. Like, they're going to have to go hire a head coach at some point.
Will Bill Callahan walk out the door same day?
Oh, yeah.
I would think so.
Why would he? I'll stay around.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how that works.
He'll be out
contracts, and I guess he's just gone, huh?
Yeah, he's. They fire his son.
He's gone.
He'll be gone.
So now you don't have an O-line coach. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
so everything.
So again, like, hey, look, if it keeps up like this, then at some point you just have to do it. But I'm still open to the idea that he gets the year. I'm still open to it. Call me crazy.
It'd be a long year. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. We will get to your thoughts on this coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. We are taking your thoughts on the Titans on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing good, Trey. Good.
Hey, I just wanted to say that I had a friend of mine, man, that played for Pittsburgh Pirates. He backed up Barry Bonds, and then he got the job. He played down there for 6 years, Adrian Brown. And then he had an opportunity. He played for Boston Red Sox when Boston was playing against Oakland, and he was pinch hitting. Boston could have went to the World Series during that drought. And I just want to say, people don't understand that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You have to do the best you can in that moment, and I think Cam Ward, don't have really the fundamentals to do the job. I think the game is too fast for him. And I think Brian Callahan is in the same position. When you're in this type of position, you got to perform to the best of your ability and do the best of your ability. And I don't think that they're doing that. And I think that most of it is Cam Ward's fault because he's fundamental foundation to do the job. And I also think it's Brian Callahan's fault to an extent. He can only put the plays out there for the young man. And if he can't perform them, that's on Cam Ward, So y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. I will say that's the first thing we've heard all week where the blame is on Cam Ward, not the coach.
Yeah. That was interesting.
That's the first time we've heard that. I will, as I mentioned yesterday, or maybe Monday. Yesterday was Monday. The footwork from Cam Ward, I didn't think was very good in this game. Like you could see it in live time. Like he was kind of all over the place. I remember he threw one to the left sideline and his feet were still facing like right sideline. I was like, how did he even make that throw? He didn't even turn. Yeah. How did he make that throw? So there's still definitely some work that Ward's gotta improve and clean up as the year goes on here.
Yeah, in fact,
I would not put him at the top of the list of problems though right now.
No, but I think that goes to the question of Callahan too. Is like, okay, are the fundamentals improving? Like this Bedingfield piece we cited, he writes a lot about his mechanics and some of the things that need to be cleaned up. So I won't read all that, Paul. So we'll let go to Paul Garcia.
Yeah, it's a long story. There's a lot I didn't read in there.
Good.
It's very good.
When I go to paulgarcia.com, I like to read Blake Bedingfield stories personally. But no, there's a lot. I mean, that's a big thing is the mechanics, and that's something like you talk about. Is Brian Callahan good for Cam Ward? I mean, those are the things that you want to see get better. By the way, on my personal text line, someone going back to the Amy discussion said I was a 26-year season ticket founder. Amy is largely the reason I didn't re-up this year.
Ooh,
so
okay.
But look, it's a very and I've been there, and most sports fans, especially if you're my age, probably have been there at one point or another where, like, when ownership appears to be what's really the issue and limiting, that's just terrible as a sports fan because you can't do anything about it other than boo.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in T-Mac in the borough. T-Mac, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, to that last caller, I mean, he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't watch football, and you can tell. So I don't think it's on Cam Ward. But I will say this: what week do they play the Patriots?
That's 7.
Sweet 6 or 7. Yeah,
I think 7.
Yep.
If I was Amy, this is what I would do. We've seen 3 weeks of Callahan calling the plays. These next 3 weeks, if I was her, I would go to Callahan and say, okay, you need to give up your play calling duties and let Nick Holtz do it. And then once they get to the Patriot game, if nothing has changed, then they fire Callahan. That's what I would do.
Thank you, T-Mac. Appreciate it. I mean, he was asked about the play calling yesterday, Brian Callahan. He did not get into stupendous detail about it.
He said everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table.
I've seen some media take that as big changes could be afoot for the Titans offense. I'm not ready to go there, but I will say, and you and I have a different opinion on this, and we talked about the 6 o'clock hour. I thought his answer wasn't. Do we have that? Hey, Ian, can you give me something real fast, like right now? Hey, how about the Greatest American Hero theme song? I love that show and song. I don't know. I thought I'm not ready to say he is telling us that there's big change, but I thought it was a little bit different than just your typical, yeah, sure, everything's on the table. Yeah, leave me alone. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, we'll hear it just here in a second, but my takeaway from it, I was watching the YouTube feed because that's what I do now, especially since the chat summary the other night told me what all the chat was about and how mad Titans fans are. I was like, thank you, AI. I did not know that Titans fans were mad. But now that you've told me, I can uncover it. I just saw his face in the answer, and I thought, okay, well, this is just some throwaway answer. Let's hear it for ourselves again. Here is what Brian Callahan had to say yesterday when he was asked about the idea of giving up play calling.
Given some of these miscues and some of the offensive struggles, has there been any consideration into giving over play calling to Bo or Nick or any of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, everything's under evaluation right now at 0-3. Certainly, it's all part of it. That's players in their roles. That's everything. I mean, we got to find a way to put ourselves in position to win a game. So we're evaluating everything.
Will you give over play calling?
I mean, there's nothing to add to it other than that. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess maybe not. I don't know why. In the moment, I'm like, wait, is he actually cracking the door on this a little bit? I'm probably wrong. For the first time ever.
Yeah, well, it's history.
It's
on the show
finally
today.
happened.
It took 5 years, but we finally found something Rexrode is wrong on. Yeah, I think I don't know this for sure, but I think the Titans would probably view it the same way I do of, man, if it gets to the point where we feel like you can't call plays, like right now you're proving that you can't operate in a game, like you're making ridiculous decisions. If it gets to the point where you're not winning games, you can't make easy, common sense decisions that coach makes every week, and now you're telling me you can't be the one calling plays either, yeah, we're just going to move on. We're going to fire you. Like, I think the Titans probably view it that way, which is the way they should view it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I just like, look, the bottom line is, and I think this is where some Titans fans don't have the perspective, just based on some of the comments of like, this is just crazy to have a play calling head coach. It's
half the league.
Yeah. And it works in a lot of places. It has worked.
It's probably more than half the league now.
Yes. It has worked more than not, but you're going to have failures too.
Yeah.
You will. And of course, Titans' luck would be that they would have one of those. I want to give Adam Portland quick love here because he says, Indy Ben, imagine me calling an indie station and calling myself Tennessee Adam and crapping on their team. Sure have been quiet since luck left. Enjoy this 3-game Danny Downs false open, picking 15th in the upcoming draft.
We're talking.
Tell him, Adam in Portland.
We'll find out more this week. I think it's Colts and Rams this week. Colts on the road to the Rams.
It really sucks for Titans fans that they have already been reduced to hate watching the Colts.
Oh yeah,
hoping they lose.
It's September, and you're already like, well, our season's over. Let's go watch somebody else. Hope they lose.
But to be clear to another texter, and I forget the name. No, we're not talking about the draft. We're not talking about the draft anytime soon.
To do it. Yeah,
no,
I will not do it.
No.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans as we wrap up the show. Coming up next, we'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Final segment of the day. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, Titans fans need to know that if you're here in Nashville, you've been a Titans fan for a long time, you're not alone in your suffering. My dad sent me this video on TikTok last night that I then downloaded and shared with you all. The suffering for Titans fans has gone international. Let's check in with a Titans fan in England to see how he's feeling about the way the season is going.
Might be the stupidest NFL fan. I was born in Derby. I live in Derby in the UK, which is 4,200 miles away from Nashville, Tennessee. Somehow, out of all 32 NFL teams, I picked the Tennessee Titans. I've even been to the Nissan Stadium. What did I do wrong to end up with the Titans as my NFL team? I literally could have picked anyone. I could have loaded up Madden and chosen any team. I could have chosen Super Bowl winners, yet I've chosen a poverty franchise that brings me nothing but pain on a Sunday.
Poverty franchise that brings nothing but pain. But the Titans have gone international, and there's fan bases across the world that are suffering right along with you here in Nashville.
See, just like the people here, I've got buddies who are like, "Oh, Liverpool," and I'm like, "You're that like you just randomly chose them as your team 10 years ago, and now you're living and dying with them." Okay, but hey, that's what happens, right? And so I feel bad for him. This reminds me of my parenting fail, which again, here we go. You know, the Lions are still good,
looking pretty good.
I absolutely had a born Lions fan converted to Titans fan. I mean, it's over. Like the Titans are,
it's done.
So you have this much lack of success for this long. Some of those people that maybe you could have, you had a nice run. You could have had them. Now you're losing them.
This is a low T alert.
Thank you.
People, we went through the start of the season for the last 3 years. The miracle flip. The Jets game last year where he's bowling it on the ground. Malik Willis coming in and dominating you. And then the start to this year and all the coaching bungles that we've seen. Going through that was just, I think, a nice reminder of what we've had to deal with around here as a football market. But I did see a lot of Titans fans on the chat were like, yeah, thanks, Robby. Really appreciate you bringing all that stuff back up. It's great stuff out there that we're dealing with. What's coming next? What's next?
I know. I mean, you said earlier that you feel bad for Titans fans, which I think is very genuine. And Skylar said, no, you don't. You just like crap.
No, I do. Trust me, I do. I feel bad for Titans fans. I feel bad in some ways for us. I always tell people, because we get messages, getting more messages like this on a weekly basis at this point. Man, I really feel bad for you guys. You got to sit there and talk about this team for 3 hours. And my general response is, don't feel bad for us. We're fine. We're going to be okay. But I'm starting to feel a little bad for us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel bad for me because I finally got something wrong. But yeah, no, we deserve some sympathy too. But this is also, if you're a fan, I mean, if you stick it out through this, the NFL is designed for your franchise to figure it out one way or the other. Even ownership aside, you can find plenty of quote unquote bad owners in pro sports that have had good teams, good runs because they hired someone who's good. Look, maybe Borgonzi. I mean, his first draft, it looks pretty good other than the second round pick, but the offensive picks look pretty good. You stick it out through this stuff and things get better. Then you really, to me, you really have earned the title of fan, Yeah. So hang in there. I mean, look, again, I think no one in the world should be a Detroit Lions fan because they are cursed. However, the poor suckers who have stuck it out, they are getting to watch good football now.
They're very passionate.
Jake Lyman's coming up next. He and I are Detroit Tigers fans. We had a decade in the wilderness, and now yeah, that's right. We're in absolute hell again. But anyway, still, you earn it as a fan, right?
You do.
So in some weird way, take kind of solace in the fact that you're still watching this team, talking about this team, caring about this team, even with the just big plates full of poop that they give you every Sunday.
I am interested. We will have Paul Kuharski on the show tomorrow. And one of the many things that we will talk about with Kuharski is I'm going to try to get him and I know he hates doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try to get him, like, in his mind. I'm not holding him to it or anything, but a percentage chance. Like, if they go and they lose on Sunday to Houston, which, by the way, they're a 7.5-point dog on the road against Houston with an 0-3 team. What is the percentage chance that he thinks that Brian Callahan will be fired after that game? Look, you heard Terry talk about it yesterday. He's like, I'm just telling you, man, that Houston game. And Terry wasn't the only one I heard yesterday talking about this. So I'm interested to get PK's thoughts on that tomorrow.
Well, I'm glad you're going to ask, but don't forget that he's a coward who won't even give a game prediction.
He will not give a game prediction, but maybe he'll talk about the coach being fired.
I agree. We need to hold him to some math on that because, it seems so cliche and just so reactionary for that to be actually on the table, like just because it's in Houston. But as you said earlier, it's not like that's unprecedented.
Yeah. Kyle on the text line says, was our second-round pick supposed to be kicking butt right now? I thought they drafted him for a couple years out.
No, I mean, kicking butt, no. Demonstrating some level of ability to do anything.
It'd be nice to get something from last year's second-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Sweat on IR?
Yeah.
I think that's been under-talked about maybe so far.
We haven't mentioned it at all because it's so the list of issues is so long. But, yeah, it's not good, man.
No.
That's not good.
I mean, it just kind of further solidifies that maybe a while before we're talking about a Titans win around here. Maybe a long time before we're talking about a Titans win. I mean, to answer Kyle's question, no, it's not like the world's biggest deal that the second-round pick isn't out there, being a dominant edge rusher immediately. It would be nice if you could notice when he's in the game, though. Like, I'd probably start there. Like, if you're drafting someone in the second round and they're playing for you, you should probably at some point notice that they're playing football for you.
Exactly. Like, I mean, yes, project and all that stuff. So you definitely you expect next year to be better than this year. But in the NFL, it's just like everything. This is not hockey or baseball where it's years of development, in different levels before you're ready. Like in the NFL, the careers are short. They start fast, they end fast. So like by next year, he should be a second-round pick starter who makes a difference. And right now, I think it's a little bit alarming.
It's a long way off from that, right?
And it's a little bit alarming, especially because he came to a situation where the opportunity is there to play right away.
Yeah.
So again, some people would say, yeah, well, if he was on a better team, he'd be getting random, lighter reps, and it wouldn't be as big of a deal, right? Well, that's true, but you want to see more.
You want to see more. That could sum up the Tennessee Titans the last couple of years. You want to see more.
There you go.
We'll talk about it again tomorrow.
We'll talk about the draft tomorrow, everybody. 2026. I got some great prospects
coming up tomorrow on the show. That does it for us
Ruben
today.
May, watch out.
Next man up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.